Right, so we're going to do a Hurling Power Rankings now, our fourth one of the year. And we're going to let's set a time limit of 10 minutes here. So it's 9:29 now as we're doing it here live. So it's done by 9:39, all right?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, because we have Shane K. Kern coming on to talk about football. So we want to make sure that we're not interfering into his time. So the big one, here's on the right-hand side of the page, is our last rankings, and we're going to fill this in the middle. So will we just start filling it out here? I think we both know what's going to... Huh? No, do you know what? I put Clare in at number one now.
I couldn't confidently say that Limerick are going to still be in the championship after Sunday.
That's why I'm going with Clare, because like I know they got hammered in the All-Ireland semi-final last year, but like they've been so consistent in 2 championship years here. And even like the year before, remember when Cork got to the All-Ireland final, they were within a puck of a ball, within a Patrick Collins save from Tony Kelly, getting into a big run, and who knows what will happen. Now, Conor Cleary, you'd presume he's out for the season. That would be probably adding the biggest question mark I could think of for Clare.
Yeah, that's definitely a big question mark. You get away with it in a given, in a game, making a change, but whether you get away with it long term is another story. John Mullane had an interesting one on the throw-in the other day. He reckons McInerney back full back, Aidan McCarthy back wing back.
I couldn't see them taking him out of I couldn't see it happening. I'd say you've got Shane Amori, who can obviously come in with pace. I'd love to get a few comments from our Clare viewers.
Surplus forwards, though. Deficit in the backs. He could still hit the freeze.
Yeah, but he's just like he's a game breaker, and you're having him so far away from goal and I want him running inside the 45, the opposition's 45.
Yeah, I still think you could clip 2 or 3 a game, but that's for another day. I just thought it was an interesting one because they do have Shamey and Ian Galvin, David Reedy. They've loads of forwards. They've no problem with the forwards. Now, taking frees might be tricky or whatever, but I'm happy enough with Clare number one. And I will say this. I thought Clare were the 5th team in Munster at the start of the year. As it progressed, I thought they were the 4th team. And then by the time push came to shove, I thought they'd be the 3rd team. But like, barring those mistakes against Tipperary, they probably would have beaten Tipperary first time out as well, and they'd be 4 from 4. And they bounced back. They bounced back so well. Clare number one, I'm happy with.
Let the record show that I said Clare would get through from the start.
Good man, well done.
Aren't I fair yoke? Right, who's number 2? Like, do you think Limerick will get through this weekend?
Just about.
Yeah, so we have to make them number 2, even though, like, we still know they're obviously 4-time All-Ireland champions in the last 5 years. We obviously have talked about them in such glowing terms all the time, but they do look like they're teetering on the edge. So this is the first time in God knows how long we haven't had them number 1. But, like, I think that they could lose this weekend, but I think they'll come through. But even so, they'll have to play a preliminary quarterfinal, which they'll obviously win, and they'll win handsomely against Carlow or Offaly, either or. Now, there's obviously Tipperary could lose to Waterford and they could end up in a provincial final, but then they'll have to play a quarterfinal, semi-final, and final. I don't think they'll come through. If they have to go the back door, I don't think they'll go through all the way this year, given the form of some of their key men.
Yeah, it's I'm really I was 70-30 last week on whether Tip could turn them over. 30% thought they might. Like, it's probably 60-40. Something nagging at me that just thinks that Cork, this might be, like, they have stood up a good bit more this year consistently than other years, I would say.
Yeah, like, it should be Cork's year, but sorry, it could be. And like, given how Limerick are going, and I think it's just hard. They're getting by in heart at the moment and muscle memory in terms of how they're playing. Some of the lads, like, producing massive moments because they've been such big players. But I think Cork need to look at a few changes. Like, I really think Declan Dalton's an excellent player, but I thought he had a pretty poor game from general play last week. Like, look, he had a few shots drop short from play, several frees from distance that dropped short. He got the rebound for the goal, but other than that, it didn't happen for him. I think Lehane probably better off coming in from the bench. I think Harnedy and Horgan both playing on the inside line. There's a bit of a pace deficit in there. I'd love to know if Jack O'Connor is fit, because I think he wasn't in the panel. And like, with his pace this weekend against Limerick, he could be, like, maybe he's just not playing well. Maybe he's out of favour, or maybe he's injured. I don't know.
I think they need players that could potentially scorch Limerick. That's what I think.
And Robbie O'Flynn being out is just such a massive blow.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get back to our power rankings here for a second. I'm probably like Clare Limerick tip, I'd say.
Yeah, so we're happy enough to have Limerick second.
Yeah. There's still a question mark even on them being second at the moment, being honest. But I think they'll just about get through at the weekend.
Yeah, so I'd be looking for Galway next.
Galway have been more impressive than Kilkenny so far. I don't know. I've said it week after week after week. I just haven't got a read on Kilkenny yet. Haven't really got a read on them. I just haven't seen enough from them yet. And a good few of the Ballyhale lads, by all accounts, look pretty tired and kind of jaded the other day. Richie Reid aside, I'd probably have Galway marginally ahead of Kilkenny. Yeah.
Yeah, but Galway do need to they need to win a Leinster title. It's what, 2018 or 2019, 20? Yeah, because Kilkenny are looking for 4 in a row, and they do need to lay down a marker. Kilkenny got to a league final, but everyone knows that they were in the weaker side of the league draw, and they played Cork, beat them at home, dream draw in a way, just to see can physically Cork stand up in this game. They didn't, and maybe that won't happen. Maybe that'll be the problem for Cork again this weekend. They got. You could have made a case that they could have done a bit better in the league final if they took a couple of the goal chances, but ultimately they fell away there. They've done what they've needed to do in the league, but like it's Derek Ling's first year, they lost a lot of players over the winter. They're still probably finding their mojo and sort of organising their team, and like they're going on.
Galway haven't won a Leinster since 2018. Can we really have them ahead of Kilkenny?
Well, it's more like, do you not feel that they've more like? Yeah, you know what? Maybe you're right.
I just don't know. Like that Leinster final performance last year still kind of haunts me and must nearly haunt them as well. I think I just think they have a lot to prove.
Okay, all right. You know what? Yeah, I'm with you. Okay,
Cork.
Cork, yeah.
Like it's gas because Cork, as I said to you, like Cork could win the All Ireland if they win on Sunday.
They haven't won.
Yeah, they could though. Do you know what I mean? And just as Andrew says there, Billy Drennan is back in as well, which would be a boost for Kilkenny, and they need probably a bit of kind of fresh blood too.
I don't see him starting.
No, I wouldn't see him starting, but coming in and sniping a couple of scores when the game opens up would be they could do with a player like that.
Okay, so I'm going to put Dublin next.
If Dublin played Waterford, how would that go?
Dublin would win. Like, the confidence is just on the floor with this Waterford team. They're a team that's inside out. Whereas Dublin are getting the most out of themselves. I believe that the training is going brilliant with Donoghue. Franny Ford apparently very well got. I feel like they're a team that's picking up what their managers are putting down.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Waterford are going to be last in Munster anyway. So, should they be 8? Is there anybody else that should be? Ken McGrath thinks that if there was relegation from Munster, Waterford to be gone, and that to be in that they're Joe McDonagh standard. Is there anybody else in the Liam McCarthy at the moment that we think is ahead of them at this moment in time?
That's ahead of Waterford?
Waterford, yeah.
Well, Wexford arguably. I mean, they were 17 points up. It was a collapse. Are they as bad as what they produced?
No, they're not that bad. But that doesn't mean that they won't get relegated at the weekend.
Yeah. So you're thinking Waterford could end up losing 5 games from 5, but obviously they're operating in a much more difficult competition. They pushed Limerick to within 2 points.
Just on that form has not been franked, really, has it? If you get me.
Wexford form has been franked because they expect to beat Antrim by more than 4 points, and they go out.
Yeah, true enough. I just mean from a Waterford threw it down to Limerick, but part of that was to do with Waterford. It's looking increasingly more and more like a larger part was to do with a larger part was to do with Limerick's poor play as opposed to Waterford's good play, if you get me. But I wouldn't be placing that much stock in that game now. Funnily enough, that game could come back to bite Limerick in the ass now because a draw will not do them because they didn't beat Waterford by enough.
Yeah. Okay, so are we going to get our next on the block here? I still put Waterford ahead of Wexford.
I would, yeah.
Okay. Now, are we putting Wexford ahead of Westmeath?
See, here's where the prediction element kind of has to come into it to some extent as well, doesn't it? Like, who do we think is going to stay up after the weekend?
I think Westmeath will get enough. I think Westmeath will do enough because they're at home. Like, I mean, I'm going to take the coward's way out and go with it that they're at home, so that they're going to get the job done, and that Antrim will go down for the
Yeah, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if Antrim got a result there.
Neither would I.
Not a bit, because I think they've probably put new faces in the last couple of games, knowing that everything is on this last game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but can't Westmeath after beating Cork or after beating Wexford last weekend. We can't like, maybe they should even be ahead of Wexford, but I think we both think that was maybe a bit of a freak of a half, and that Wexford, or if they played 10 times, that Wexford would win 8 maybe. Do you know what I mean? I'm happy enough with that 11. Are we putting McDonagh in as well? Awfully ahead of Carlow.
No, they shouldn't be in the All-Ireland
Well,
competition.
they are in the All-Ireland Championship, and I'll tell you something. If we get over Carlow on Saturday, we will rattle Dublin big time in a preliminary quarter final. There'll be shades of 2019.
Do you think there's
if we get over this weekend?
Like, you're saying this as if it's a foregone conclusion that Galway will beat Dublin this weekend, even though I think probably 2 of the last 3 times Dublin have beaten Galway and tend to do all right against them at Croke Park. So what has you so sure that they're not going to win this game?
Yeah, I don't know. I just fancy Galway at the weekend. I wouldn't. Dublin have been. Yeah, I've seen glimpses or whatever, but I don't know if they can listen. It's obviously the added spice of Donoghue. It's funny trying to right or wrong from 2019 when Dublin beat Galway and ended his managerial career in Galway. Dublin can still get through to the Leinster final, correct? Based on head to head with, yeah. Do I see them getting a result in Croke Park? Last time they played in Croke Park, they beat them, didn't they?
And like a few years ago, remember, they bet them well, kept Galway 14 points or something.
Yeah. I still think Galway will win at the weekend. But listen, if Galway finish third, we'll hop off them as well.
Yeah, we sure will. Yeah, definitely will. Cormac Ross says Tip could go out this weekend. Hugh Paddy says boo. Obviously, I'm only joking about Carlow and Offaly shouldn't be in it, but we'll find out this weekend who's like, you think Offaly are going to win, so that would be by the end of that.
Marginally, yeah.
That's Offaly 12th, Carlow 13th.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, that's not just based on what I think will happen on Saturday. It's based on Offaly have only lost 1 game between league and championship this year. That was to Carlow when they had a second string team. So, you know what I mean? I think, yeah, I just think our depth might get us through at the weekend.
Okay, so we'll go from 1 to 11 there. Clare, Limerick, Tip, Kilkenny, Galway, Cork, Dublin, Waterford, Wexford, Westmeath and Antrim.